welcome to Bench Burner Sports, Bench Burner MMA. This is the second rendition of Stoking the Coals, I believe is what we're going to go with. Stoking the Coals, keeping the fire going on UFC 309 this time. I am Knuckles, and I'm joined by my lovely host, Squared, MMA Squared. How you doing, man?
I'm doing good. That was a good, exciting card for the most part. The thing for me is, as you know, I was at a wedding during it, and I think around the time that Obon Elliott was fighting, I was giving my best man speech. But I came prepared. I went back and watched most of the fights. I think the only ones I didn't, and might sound a little guilty here. I think the only ones I didn't watch were the female fights. I was about to even the main event one. I was like, I should probably watch that one, and then I was just like, I gotta make the most of my time here.
I mean, low key, they were like the two probably worst fights on the card. I'm not trying to even be an asshole. Like I'm being honest, they were like they were pretty lackluster. I was gonna say the Hardy. I mean, we won't talk too much about them because we're gonna start at the top with the Hardy and the Mora. Yeah, Mora. It was okay. And same way with Silva and Viviarjo, which I'll talk very lightly about that later on. I've got a couple things to say. I'm watching while we're doing this. I have Oliveira and Chandler up, and Chandler just did the fuck it and backflip. But anyway, I forgot he did it twice. I thought he did it the one time.
The fact that he had the we'll get into it, but I mean, he was able to get up the second time. It's like
I was gonna say maybe I was shredded, maybe I was drunk. Shit, I didn't remember him doing it twice. But anyway, we're gonna talk about 309 real quick since that fight's over. I'm gonna go ahead and pause it. We'll go ahead and start cooking. Anyway, talking about 309, we're going to talk about kind of the major takeaways from the card. A lot of time on our prediction shows, we make like a breakdown and we go like fight by fight, which we will kind of go fight by fight. But I think what we're going to do, at least what I feel going forward, is just the major takeaways from the card, fight by fight kind of in a way. So we're going to start at the top. We usually start at the bottoms on our fight predictions. And I think we're going to start changing that too, depending on how things work out. So we're going to start at the top from now on, or at least for this we are, for the Stoking the Coals episodes. And so with that, I guess the big thing to talk about is Jon Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Jon Jones stopped Stipe Miocic in the third round with a spinning body kick with follow-up ground and pound. I'm pretty sure Herb was going to call it, regardless if those were follow-up punches were in there or not. I guess my major takeaways, like initially, are good performance from Jones. But I don't want to I don't want to be the asshole. It's going to take away from people. But Stipe looked old as shit. I mean, like, I've heard other media members talk about it. I've seen certain people talk about it. I don't know if Stipe beats like anybody in the top 10 right now. The way that performance was, if anybody watched the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson fight, very reminiscent of that. Very stiff, very hard for him to pull the trigger on shots. When he did, he had some success. I'll give him that. But Jones just looked worlds better. Jones looked like a guy that had he looked like the greatest fighter in the world, like he is, I guess. I think that if that fight had taken place 4 years earlier, 5 years earlier, it'd have been a lot more competitive. Not to say Miocic didn't land shots. He did. There were some moments where he was chasing down Jones, but you could tell that he was just, I don't know, for lack of the better word, old. He just was old. I mean, that's the best way to put it. But yeah, my major takeaway from it is that Jon Jones is good. One of the greatest in the world, one of the top 5 fighters in the world probably right now. I don't know if he's the greatest heavyweight. I'm sure we'll get into that here a little bit more in a minute. But, he's good. I'll give him credit. He did a good job. What are some of your takeaways from that, Squared?
So going into the fight, I remember saying this to you and having you read it on our last pod was this fight wasn't going to tell us who the best heavyweight is. And that was true. I will say that John Jones put on a good enough performance to prove that he's one of the top two best heavyweights. Um, the other being Aspinall, and of course, we want that fight to figure out who that number one is. But I didn't doubt that going into the fight either. I knew John was one of the two, even with just the win over Gone. This heavyweight division's not that deep. It wasn't hard to figure out that John Jones is one of the better ones. But it didn't solidify anything. It didn't feel like a real championship fight. Um, and yeah, Stipe did not look good. I know they're trying to make this narrative that John Jones made him not look good, and it was like, no, Stipe looked like a 40 whatever year old dude who hasn't fought in 4 years, and the last time he fought it was a brutal KO. That's what he looked like because that's what he is. And that's all respect to Stipe, greatest heavyweight of all time. You know, wish him the best retirement. Awesome dude, firefighter, very respectable. I'm not trying to like shit on him, but the facts are that he was very old and he was very immobile, and that's what we got, and that's kind of what you had to expect. But John did look good. He looked really good. He moved really well. He moved really well offensively when he was going in for the strikes. Obviously, he looked great. When defensively, he did not move very well. He was not evading shots very well. Stipe was giving him the Walmart parking lot Cookie Monster pajama combos, just like sprinting
Yeah.
forward doing this shit. And he was like kind of landing a couple of them. And it was weird because at the beginning of the fight, I noticed a lot of times John would like be kind of evading and he would kind of have his head at him like this. Like it's kind of hard to kind of play it out, but
Yeah.
he was doing that. And what I
Yeah.
think John was doing was he was waiting for a moment to hit his classic spinning elbow or something like
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, yeah. He was looking for
you could
that.
tell, and I don't know, maybe Stipe recognized that because Stipe wasn't following through with those combos.
Yeah.
But then when Stipe decided he was going to start following through with the combos, John was not doing that, and John was getting like touched.
Yeah.
Not significantly, but he was still getting touched, which, you know, it's weird. It's weird. It was kind of odd, and I'm not trying to take away anything from John. I mean, that fucking spinning kick right to the ribs had to have
That was nice. That
that
was good.
was nasty. Um, so yeah, it's just like you kind of come out of that fight just almost feeling the same way that you went going into it, which is like, all right, that was that. Can we please get John versus Tom now, please?
Yeah.
And hopefully, it's such a drama show right now, but hopefully we end up getting that one next.
That's the thing. I guess the aftermath of it. I mean, obviously, we're gonna cook on this one for a while because I mean it's the big fight. I I agree, man. I think that obviously everybody wants the Aspinall fight, and I think that's the fight to make. But there's so much politics involved, especially when it comes to John Jones in the cage. Made it sound hopeful. Outside of the cage, when he was at the post-fight presser, not
Yeah.
yeah. The thing is that some people are saying, "Oh, John's just building up the fight. That's why he's saying these things. That's why he said, oh, Tom's an asshole, this and that." If you've ever watched John Jones, I've been watching John Jones since he came in the UFC, since 2008. I've seen this man. He's he is the asshole, obviously, but like he is very facetious. Or he puts on a facade. How am I trying to say this? He puts on a facade, but what he says, 9 times out of 10, he means. Like, if he says, "I'm not going to fight this guy," or "I'm going to fight this guy," or "I'm going to do this or that," 9 times out of 10, he means it. So when he is saying that he has no interest fighting Tom Aspinall, it's not something to build a fight up. Like John Jones has no interest in fighting Tom Aspinall. He's not lying about that. And I think that's just fucking bullshit. Unless he vacates his title. And we'll talk about that. And he's even said that he would. Do I think that's true?
But that's still up to Dana. Dana's going to be like, because at the end of the day, if he wants to vacate the title and fight Alex, that's going to
I
be up
think
to. I say Dana. Obviously, it's the matchmakers, all those people. But we do know this about Dana and the UFC as a whole is they like to keep that lineage. So they want John Jones to fight
Yeah.
Aspinall. They don't, and if it's going to be his last fight, they might even want John to lose just to kind of keep that fluidity going.
Yeah.
Um, but that's aside the point. What they don't want is for the belt to be vacated and for Tom to just pick it up. So they want that fight
Right.
to happen. So even him saying like, "Oh, if I have to, I'll vacate the belt." It's like, no, that's not what they want you to do. They want you to lose the belt. That's what they as much as they might love a champion, they want them to lose the belt to somebody, and that person to
Yeah.
piggyback off of that star power or that whatever's.
Well, they want the control. They want the control. If it came down to it, and I'm telling you this right now, I know that everybody says, and like I've even said, Dana White's glazing John Jones. He is. But the thing about Dana White is that control and power, and it's not only Dana White. I think it's the whole organization, like him and his people. It's mostly Dana. We all know that, but they love the control and the power. And when it comes down to it, they will strip. I feel like they'll try to strip John Jones before they will let him vacate. They would
Yeah.
rather strip the title from somebody. They've done it to,
Then
they've done.
at least it's like, yeah, this is like, it's almost like them saying this is our belt and we're giving it. It's not just
Yes,
like Tom had to pick up the belt that got just like left on the ground pretty much.
and I think, and I honest to God, I think that is a likely scenario that could happen because everybody's acting like John Jones is invincible in Dana's eyes. And don't get me wrong, I think that like John or Dana likes John a lot, obviously. But here's the thing: there's a little like once upon a time ago, Dana White was not the biggest fucking fan of John Jones.
I don't
The
know.
Dan Henderson situation where
He still says it. He still was like, we have not always gone along.
yeah, like, and that's the thing is like they had to fucking cancel a whole event because of John Jones. And ever since then, Dana's like he's kind of low key been on Dana's shit list because of that. Like that's part of it because he wanted like the whole Dan Henderson negotiation of all people. Why that fucking fight was the big issue. Dan Henderson of all fucking people, I don't understand. But so I guess what I'm saying is, like I could see it. I could see a world where John gets stripped and and Tom, like, and it'll be like this. Dana will say what he always says. Well, this is okay. This is a scenario that I believe could happen. I believe might happen because I'm going to say this right now. I don't think John Jones fights Tom Aspinall. I don't think it happens because he said, I want fuck you money. Fuck you money is like 50 million plus, right? He wants that Jake Paul money. He wants $50 million. He's not getting $50 million. Conor McGregor made 33 million against Dustin Poirier in his last fight. Nobody's making more than Conor McGregor. And if he does, Connor, if he does come back, is going to ask for like fucking 75. And that's why they don't want to do that. That's why they don't want to do it. Because if John Jones sets a precedent for fuck you money, you're going to get these bigger stars like Alex Pereira stars rising, Islam Makhachev stars rising, Ilya Taporia, obviously his star is rising. Those dudes are going to start asking for the fuck you money. And you can't pay 50 to this guy, 50 to this guy, 40 to this guy, 30 to this guy. There's a reason that that's not paid out. And I get it. Like, do they have the money to do it? More than likely, obviously. But do they want to? No, because that's when people start asking for more. That's why they keep the bar so low. And I'm not trying to like defend the UFC. I still think it's kind of shitty tactics that they do. But I think that John is going to ask for 50 million. Dana's going to be like, no, we're not doing that. How about 30? How about 25? Because I think somebody said that he probably got like 15 to 20 for this fight, which makes sense for his longevity and his star power. Because he's probably like the fourth or fifth biggest star of all time behind like Lesnar, Rousey, McGregor. He's probably like fourth behind those three. But anyway, come see, come saw. I think that they're going to try to negotiate. They're going to try to talk him down to like maybe 30 million. He's going to be like, no, I'm not fighting this dude. You don't understand. I'm not going to fight this guy. And I think what's going to ultimately happen is either I doubt that he might vacate. They're going to try to force him, but this is what's going to happen. I think Dana's going to come out and he's going to be like, John Jones obviously doesn't want to fight the guy. John Jones, he obviously doesn't want to fight him. If he wanted to fight Tom, he'd fight Tom. He'd take the money that we're offering him. We're offering him a lot of money. He'd fight him. But obviously, and wouldn't doubt if Dana says, I think he's scared of him, because that's what Dana does. John may think he's invincible, but when you got Dana White will spew a fucking story to make you look like the bad guy and make him look like the golden boy every time. And I think that's what'll happen. I believe that the next heavyweight championship fight will be Tom Aspinall versus the winner of Cyril Gane and Alexander Volkov. That is what I believe. And I believe that if John does fight again, if they do allow him to fight again, if they do, it will be Alex Pereira. I believe that's what'll happen, but not super confident in it. Maybe John will come to an agreement. I'm not sure. I also just think that I don't want to say John's scared of Tom. I don't think John's scared of anybody, but there is worry, and when worry's there, you know.
Yeah, he knows that he's at risk if he fights Aspinall, and I guess I'm hopeful that the fight comes to fruition. I'm hopeful that Dana gives him a sufficient amount of money, because Dana has already said he thinks that this will be like maybe I misunderstood him, but it sounded like he said that this was going to be like the biggest fight ever, which is like
He said biggest heavyweight fight for sure. Which,
gotcha. Which,
I mean, in the context of things, heavyweight fights.
If they play their cards right and they do a good job marketing it and promoting it, and if it happens more so in the near future than like fucking the end of next year,
they got to do it this.
While John's still got some hype, and all these people are really pushing for Aspinall, it could be gigantic. So hopefully that is the way it goes. If not, you're probably right. Dana's already said, John, I think at the time he said winner, because I think this was at like the pre-fight press conference. He was like, whoever wins is absolutely going to fight Aspinall next. And, then he said it was like Aspinall or nothing. So hopefully he doesn't fucking let Jones snake out and get a dumbass fight with Pereira where he submits Pereira in like 30 seconds. No one wants to.
That's what'll happen. That's what'll happen.
Who the people that want to see that fight? It's like, just go watch Jones versus Gane. That's pretty much what's going to happen.
Here's my thing, dude. Here's what I think legitimately. If because John Jones was a lot smaller in this fight than when he fought Gane. He was like 230. He was literally, I think somebody said, and I think he might have said it to somebody. I don't quote me on it, but he said he was at his light heavyweight walk around weight. Okay, here's what he should fucking, in my opinion, and what I think should happen is John Jones either sneaks in front of Magomed, which I think would be, honestly, at this point, I don't like Magomed, but it would be bullshit. It would be bullshit, but it would also
be pretty hilarious.
Right, it would be fucking hilarious because Magomed is boring as hell, just in my opinion. His Johnny Walker knockout was nice, but it was Johnny Walker. So John Jones vacate, or I don't know if he wants to be double champ at the same time. Like, I don't know, let him fight Pereira in the first quarter of next year. I guess win the double champ, then vacate. Then Tom fights the winner of Cyril Gane and Volkov at International Fight Week's a little far, but like I could see him doing that, But yeah, like have John fight at 205 against Pereira for the belt. Boom, there you go. And then John's champion again. And I guarantee you, right now, the way the division's looking and the way that he looked at heavyweight, against Gane, and the only competition he realistically would have would be if he fights smart, would be Magomed, would be like his only competition because Magomed can grapple. But I don't know, man. It's again, he wants fun legacy fights. The fact that he mentioned Jamal Hill as a fun legacy fight was funny as fuck. Derek Lewis too. He said he'd fight Derek Lewis. That shit was funny because we all know what he'd do. He would just take him to the ground like immediately. Like him versus Derek Lewis would be interesting because Derek Lewis is like big as fuck. So, but I still think he kills him because Derek Lewis got ran over by fucking Sergey Spivak. What is John Jones going to do to the guy? So, but anyway, yeah, man, I don't know. I'm hopeful like you, because I think it's the biggest fight you can make right now. One of the biggest fights. Obviously, there's fights at lower weight classes that probably have more stakes. But like when we're talking about,
That's the part of me that's like, if it's not going to happen, just fucking get it over with and
yeah, dude,
let Tom fight the Volkov Gone winner, and
yeah.
let's get this division moving, please. For the love
That's
of
the problem is because it's so stagnant and it's so
yeah.
shallow. Like, let's
And
get
what's funny is we just had a championship fight, and it still feels like not that much happened because it was John
nothing
beating the
happened
number
because it
8
did.
overall guy, and we all knew what was going to come out of that.
Yeah, there, like it. There's nothing to it.
It was
That's
like
why.
just one small obstacle out of the way for Tom versus
Honestly, dude,
John to finally happen.
I don't even think like I wouldn't even go as far as to saying like anything happened. Like it didn't do anything for the division. Nothing happened.
Champ stayed champ, and the number 8 fighter in the division
Retired.
so that's what came out of that.
Yeah,
It did clear a path a little bit because that was the main holdup for Tom versus John happening. But now the main holdup is John just not really wanting to fight him. So it's like,
and
uh,
that's the thing.
this
And that's
division.
the thing. I mean, we've got fights booked too. Like, I mean, it's a very shallow division, but we've got shit moving, which I like. I mean, we got Spivak and Almeida booked. We've got Volkov and Gon booked. We've got Rosenstruik and Pavlovich booked. I mean, that's like the top 10 right there. All booked up, and that's gonna like compile up into whatever's next. And I mean, ultimately, their fate is all the same. They're going to meet Tom Aspinall and just die, but which I'm okay with because he's one of my favorite fighters. So, but yeah, dude, I just want to see Tom Aspinall become what I believe he is, and I believe that he will become the greatest heavyweight of all time. I honestly, I believe he will. Even if he does lose, like maybe one, I still think he'll come back and just put on a run. I mean, right now I would count his Curtis Blades as one title defense. I'm just gonna say it, like throw that on the
It's a
record.
way more legitimate title defense than Stipe Miocic.
Yeah,
And
yeah. So
again, I hate like sounding like I'm shitting on Stipe, but it just the context of our current times is that Stipe Miocic is number 8 fighter who's really old. Well, now he's retired. So
and another thing too that I don't want to cook on it too much, but like another thing I was thinking of too because I've heard people talking about it and stuff. They're saying I don't want to cook on this too long. It's just some shit I've heard from like listening to Ariel Helwani's show, listening to MMA fighting, listening to a couple other smaller podcasts. That supposedly Turkey Al Sheikh's got some swing, and obviously Turkey Al Sheikh has a big time hard on for Francis Ngannou. Um, I know, and that's the thing is Dana White for some reason also like has some mad. I mean, everybody has mad respect for Turkey. He got boxing fights done that would never have been done ever, but he got them done. So maybe, just maybe in the future, we might see something special. Maybe some Ngannou, Aspinall, Ngannou Jones. I would fucking love that. Or maybe even Turkey is like, hey, make the Jones Aspinall fight in fucking Saudi. Here's $50 million to pay John Jones. Boom, there you go. That's your payday. And then UFC pays for the production and everything else. And there you go.
you know he could. You know he could.
Turkey can fucking Turkey throws out $100 million for boxers left and right like it's fucking candy. Like he can do it. So yeah, dude, I
For events
fucking
that suck too, where you like click,
yeah,
you go to watch them, and it's like this is an
yeah.
Eminem concert. What am I doing here?
Yeah. Like he fucking paid for Terrence Crawford, but yeah. So there you go, boom, dude. I mean, he's the guy getting Usyk versus Fury 2 done. He got the first one done. So yeah, let's fucking run it, dude. Turkey, get in there. I mean, honestly, fucking get somehow fucking buy Ngannou's contract, make him come back to the UFC because God knows I would fucking drool over watching Ngannou and Aspinall. Dude, I'd fuck the John Jones fight. That's honestly, I know not everybody agrees, but that's the fight I would want to see. Two big fucks swinging.
Tom's my absolute favorite, but until he proves that he can keep that chin down a little bit more,
Yeah, that's what
I'd be very nervous for him in that fight.
because you remember the Rosenstruik fight. Ngannou was just fucking doing
Yeah.
this and
Yeah.
clipped him with the yeah, dude. Okay.
I feel like Aspinall could handle a blitz better, but you leave your chin
That's
and
why I'm super confident against him against John because John doesn't power punch. He just kind of jabs and
yeah,
throws pretty long straights. But
right.
like a fucking Ngannou power hook, yeah.
What I do like about Aspinall is he's like somebody, like people will call him out for that. I forgot who he was talking to. It was in some interview, but they were like, talking about it, and he was like, "Yeah, I know." He's like, "I'm working on it." It's like
Well, the fight. It's the thing. The thing is, he's done it in like 3 fights in a row. He does this. He does that. Like
kind of charges in like it's like, "Oh, easy."
yeah, like I
Chuck it
remember
out a little bit.
Sergey hit him once, and it made me fucking nervous. I was like,
Yeah.
oh shit, because Sergey, I
He
don't think
kind
he
of
hits.
back a little bit. Yeah.
Sergey doesn't hit as hard as Ngannou, but it's pretty fucking close, if I had to guess. And he clipped him, and I was like, oh fuck. And then Stalin started doing that, and then he went boom boom. That's the thing too. Can we talk about like the fact that Aspinall might punch as hard as like maybe not as hard as Ngannou, but pretty fucking close. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason he's got an average fight time of 2 minutes and 35 seconds or something like
Really
that.
shut
Like
him down. And like you'll watch him and like he doesn't even like land. I don't want to say he doesn't land clean. He lands clean, but like he doesn't land like
he
he
doesn't look
doesn't,
like he throws hard. It
yeah,
doesn't
it
look like
doesn't look like he put a lot of sauce on it. He'll just like that one versus Blades, that last
yeah,
one. Like I'm trying to remember. Yeah, it looked like he just like kind of like got him on the cheekbone with like maybe
yeah.
like just a little like, and then dude
It's the
was
fact that he
just
fucking dude.
falling back all of a sudden.
he soaks his fucking hands in gas. I'm gonna start doing that,
Yeah,
bro. He soaks his hands in gasoline, old style, baby. But no, anyway, we've been talking on that main event for a long time. Congratulations, John Jones. Happy trails to Stipe Miocic. I hope they get the negotiations done. I hope. Because that's a fight everybody wants to see. And yeah, ducks can't be goats. So, uh, anyway, next one up, everybody, is the Oliveira versus Michael Chandler 2 fight that happened, a 5-round co-main event in a fight that was a rematch from a few years ago, right? 2 or 3 years ago. Damn good fight. Chandler was coming off of the Hooker fight, if I remember right. And the first, I'm talking about the first fight, of course. First fight was a fucking banger. Chandler had him probably like seconds away from or from beating. He was seconds away from beating Oliveira. Oliveira survived and then came back with a fury in the second round and just put Chandler out. And this fight, for 4 rounds and like a quarter of it, at least 4.25 rounds, Oliveira looked like the best lightweight in the world. One of the best lightweights, if not the best lightweight. He beat the piss out of Michael Chandler for like 4 rounds. Not like beat down, but just thoroughly,
He dominated.
yeah, thoroughly dominating him in every facet. On the feet, he was controlling the range, very technical, hitting him with really good shots. Had Michael Chandler hurt a few times on the ground, controlled every aspect. Had him a couple times where he almost got him with the rear naked choke. And then in the 5th round, Keith Peterson just decided to stop fucking watching the fight, I guess, or like just decided to like ignore everything that was going on. I mean, the whole fight he did because Michael Chandler, and again, I like Michael Chandler. He cheated. I mean, everybody should cheat because they don't fucking do anything about it. Um, that 5th round, multiple shots to the back of the head, fence crabs. Fucking, I know he poked him in the eye a couple times early in the fight. Um, I think there was a point in time where he's even grabbing the glove. Remember? I mean, hey, I'm not advocating for it. I know I said to do it, but like, what are you gonna do? It's not great. It's not a great look, but and he almost had him out of there. It was close. I think that Michael Chandler's fight IQ failed him there at the end of the fight because he decided to
Yeah.
stay on the ground with them. I think if he would, honest to God, I think if he would have got up, I think he would have beat him. I think he probably would have put him out.
They eventually, that's the thing is, I don't think, and I was talking to Max about this, I don't think getting up was so much the problem because
Yeah.
he was doing fine with the ground and pound, aside from a couple illegal shots. But I mean, still, they weren't, the ref wasn't stopping them. So
Yeah.
that pretty much makes them legal shots if the ref's not telling
I
you.
mean, legitimately, like what the
So, like,
fuck?
he was about to win the fight. What fucked him up was he stood up and then backed towards the fence, which is when
Yeah,
Charles would get those takedowns.
that's right.
The second he did it, I love Chandler. I love Charles too. Anyone who knows me knows that those are my two favorite fighters. Chandler doesn't always make it easy, but he's the guy who got me into MMA back in his Bellator days, and I refuse to turn my back on that. So I'll always support him. But when I saw him back against that fence, I went, "You fucking idiot! You fucking idiot!" Oh my god, dude, I was so pissed.
He he always makes some odd decisions. I
Yeah.
mean,
And that's the thing, dude. Max was like texting me that night. And I think between you, me, and everyone watching this, I think Max was trying to let off some steam because his Tennessee Vols got destroyed by I don't know about destroyed, but they got beat by the Bulldogs, the Georgia
who's the bulldog?
Bulldogs, which our other roommate is a big Bulldogs fan. So I think he was trying to put that loser mentality on somebody else, which was like, dude, that's not going to work. My favorite fighter just won. Sure, my close second favorite fighter just lost, but my favorite fighter just won. You're not gonna get me. But
You can't. There's no losers here.
and I told him, I was like, dude, because he was like, Michael Chandler's IQ is so bad and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, well, dude, first of all, if you're watching Chandler and expecting him to win, that's on you. You watch Chandler and expect him to entertain. And that's exactly what he did. He put on an electric fifth round. Sure, he broke a couple rules. I will say this, not as bad as people are saying. There were some shots to the back of the head. A lot. Most of those were to the side of the face, on the ear, right around the temple, legal shots.
But
But then
okay,
he started getting sloppy with them, and that's when
yes,
the forearm started
yeah,
coming down before the fist, and those would start hitting right there. Those are
yes.
legal, absolutely. I'm not trying to I'm just defending them a little bit.
No, no, but a lot of those people were saying that okay, so there was some shots where he was hitting right here. People don't realize that's legal because as long as your hand is touching part of the ear, like if my wrist right here is touching part of the ear, that's legal. It's because I'm not gonna fucking do it right now. But there is a zone right behind the ear that is legal. But people think that anything past the back of the ear is illegal.
Yeah.
It's not. As
No,
long as your hand,
he was landing on here for the
yeah.
most part. Of course, he started getting sloppy when he was starting to lose it at the end, and he started just like I said, the forearm was
Just,
coming down
yeah,
first. But a
yeah,
lot of those were landed right here, and if y'all saw Charles at the end of
yeah, his fucking,
dude, his fucking face was like
yeah.
flowing out to here. It was insane. The eye pokes, yes, they clearly weren't intentional. They were the same eye pokes
No, no, he's just,
where
yeah,
they try to push off and they do that. What was the fence grabs? Yes, he absolutely grabbed the fence. The one that everyone was well, there was the one that people
was
were
it the
pointing
first
out,
round?
the one where he grabbed the top of the cage. He grabbed it, let it go after like half a second and got taken down. What the fuck are y'all complaining about? Then there's the other one where he's laying down, and I think Charles was either in like half guard,
Yeah, and he had it
maybe
and he
full mount.
grabbed it.
He did this. That doesn't do anything.
No,
I mean, maybe it like keeps your arms from getting caught and whatever, but he did this for a minute and then let go. Charles also grabbed it from on top. It doesn't
yeah,
fucking matter that much. I don't know.
yeah,
People just like lose their shit. And it's like,
yeah.
guys, it's not that like I get it.
It's because,
It's on the ref to say, hey, don't do that, but it's also like not the fucking end of the world. Like
and that's the thing. It's because they look back mostly at that Poirier fight, and ever since then they're like, oh fucking Michael Chandler is the worst,
they try
dirtiest,
to indicate Poirier. I'll say this about Poirier.
sore loser or sore winner, sore
Poor
winner.
winner, very salty. It's weird. But also, I think if you're in a position where your face is down and Chandler was hitting him right in the face, if you turn your head away, you deserve to get punched right in the brainstem. You deserve every bit of that. It's the same thing as the motherfuckers who that luckily they can't do it anymore. But the people who used to be like, "Oh, I'm going to put my finger down on the canvas, and now you can't knee me." It's the
Yeah,
same thing. Oh, I'm going to turn the back of my head. This is a legitimate defensive technique. No, that motherfucker should get rammed in the brainstem when they do that. They deserve it. That's some pussy shit. Get out of that position or turn your face and
I
get
will say, I will
face
say,
like a
my
real
my
man.
favorite, my favorite part of that whole again, big I don't want to. We're gonna lose some fans here. I'm not the biggest fan of Poirier. Everybody fucking knows that. I don't hate him, but I don't like him
I
necessarily.
don't
I'm
fucking
very
know. I
indifferent.
feel like you seen that meme of Dokes from Dexter where it's like when you hate that one guy that everyone fucks with and it's Doak.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, yeah. I don't and again I don't hate Poirier. He gets on my he I don't know, his attitude's just like
I think me and Squared are on the same page here,
yeah,
buddy.
it's I
He's
don't
just
know, something rubs me
he's a
wrong.
store winner, and his attitude is just, yeah, his attitude's just weird. Like he
Me
acts
and
like
Max got into it last night. He was like, "Why don't you like Poirier?" I was like, "I don't like how he carries this like going into that Charles
he's
fight.
better than everybody. He acts like he's better than everybody.
Going into that Charles fight, he kept on saying, like, I'm the uncrowned champion, I'm this, I'm that. All these things. He was so high and mighty coming off those McGregor wins. And
Mhm.
then what did he do when he got into the cage versus Charles? The same thing he does in every title fight he's ever been in.
Yeah, yeah.
Choked. And I was like, yeah, dude, I don't like feel bad. I don't know. I'm starting to sound like
It's
I hate
just,
him. I
it's,
really
yeah.
don't. I've rooted for him in his last. I rooted for him against
Yeah,
Islam. I rooted for him
again,
against
that fight
UFC.
was again, that
He
fight was
just
fucking
rubs me
awesome.
the wrong way. He just rubs
Yeah,
me the wrong way.
yeah. I think for me, the thing that kind of put me in a weird position with him, again, like I will say, and Squared said the same thing. That Islam fight, I fucking was rooting for him. I think I was rooting. No, no, I picked him against BSD if I remember right, or if I didn't, I really was starting to root for him by the end of it because I was like, man, this motherfucker's like, I'm like, oh, he's actually jumping the gilly. I love watching him fight. It's just it's in between the fact. It's before and after all that shit.
For me, the decay was always him going into that Charles fight and the uncrowned, the real lightweight champion.
Oh yeah,
Charles,
mine mine
what Charles does to him.
mine was after the Hooker fight. When he went up to Hooker and said, "You gonna beat my ass now?" or something like that, and I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
because all Hooker said, it's like John Jones, fucking making that shit with Stipe because Stipe called him a bitch. Like it's the same shit. It's the same fucking shit, except for obviously John after the fact didn't go to Stipe and be like, "Oh, who's the bitch now?"
yeah.
But it's the same shit. It's the same shit, dude. Because Hooker, I remember watching the fucking countdown and all the embedded and everything else like that. Hooker just said, "I think I'm gonna beat his ass. I think he's the next guy up, and I'm gonna go through him." That's what Hooker said. Sorry, we're fucking. This is completely off topic. We're
Yeah,
taking
yeah, we haven't mentioned Charles or Chandler in a minute.
right, yeah, but I don't know. It was weird. It was just weird. That's where I lost. That's where he lost me. Was just I don't like that type of shit. Like if you win, you win. Like I get celebrating. Like fucking, you know, Izzy knocked out Bobby Knuckles and did the celebration and all that, and that's what it was. He didn't go up to Bobby afterwards and be like, "You're a bitch." Like he
Yeah,
didn't do that, you know. So
yeah.
anyway, so yeah, that fucking fight, dude. Like you said, that fifth round was electric, dude. And that's Michael Chandler. He is an
If you
entertainer.
told me Friday night or even, Saturday before the fight happened, essentially, that it was gonna go to a 5-round decision,
Yeah,
I'm like, shut up. The when they said that the fight was 5 rounds, I was like, "Well, that won't be necessary." I
I
mean,
didn't think it was going to make it
that's
past
not
two,
what these
low key.
guys do. Come on now. And so credit to both of them, and especially Chandler, because Chandler's been, he's had his troubles with the gas tank.
He
Credit
looked good.
to him for going 25. Yeah, he went. Not only did Chandler go 25 minutes, but he went 25 minutes, and then in the last like 30 seconds, stood up with Charles on his back twice, and it only meant so much.
Fuck it.
Yeah, he was in full entertainment mode at that point. He had given up
Yeah,
on
bro.
trying to win. He literally said "fuck it," which is
I love that, dude. I love that shit,
yeah.
bro. Fuck.
And then of course credit to Charles for just showing that he's still Charles motherfucking Dubronx
God, dude.
Oliveira. He can
At
still
at
even those
worst,
5 rounds. He can fight those championship rounds because he's still the
yeah,
champion. And
yeah.
Islam Makhachev, count your fucking days. Dubronx is coming.
I was gonna say, dude, at fucking, and again, this is coming from my unbiased side. I mean, you could probably even agree with me. At worst, he is the third best lightweight in the world. Honestly, low key, I think he's at least the second best because
I
Armin
think
kind of
him and
fucking,
Armin ran it back. I think he's getting the better of Armin.
yeah, I think, especially, yeah, I
You could
think
argue he got the better of Armin in the first fight, and I think he's
that fucking dude,
I
that
think he's
Doris and the
better.
fucking tongue out there, dude.
Yeah, the
That's
Doris. Let's not forget that if that fucking Armenian motherfucker, I shouldn't say Armenian. It sounds like I'm shitting on Armenians or something. But if
Oh yeah, he's
all
Army.
Sarukian fucking put his shorts on properly, like a real man, he would have gotten guillotined. That's some bullshit. His damn pants came off because those motherfuckers. Have you noticed that? Like the Eastern Europeans wear their shorts really loose. Like they always
Yeah,
like I'm thinking of Kopylov. He always looks like he's sagging. You can see
yeah.
their underwear like halfway up their back, and their shorts are
I
half.
wonder if they use that as like a. I wonder if it's less constriction when they're like throwing kicks and stuff. I doubt it, but like I don't know.
But it got them out of it. Got him out of that guillotine, Charles.
Yeah,
Which,
but
looking back on it, it was probably best because they were probably going to make Charles fight Islam 2 months later, which would have been stupid. But
I'm
what?
glad. Honestly, I'm glad this is kind of the path it's taken hold because I feel like it has reinvigorated something in Charles. This I
It's that new baby. He's a new daddy.
outside, dude. I'm telling you, outside of the fifth round, outside of one, because again, he's never fucking made it that far ever in a fucking fight. Yeah, I don't think he's ever made it to a fifth round ever. I don't think he's made it to a fourth round ever. Has he? Did he make it to a
No,
fourth round
no,
against
they
Islam?
said. I remember them saying this was his first time out of the third round.
Yeah, and so like, yeah, he kind of gassed there at the end, and all right, but when you're fucking finishing every fucking person you fight in the first 2 rounds, you know, um, I thought, dude, for 4 rounds, that was the best version of Charles Oliveira I think I've ever seen. I'm not fucking kidding. Every aspect, dude, the feet, and he didn't get crazy. He was very technical. His fucking straight shots, dude. The way that he has the sexiest straight I have ever seen, bro. The way that it's the same shit that he did against Gaethje. It just straight down the pipe, very technical, very clean, and hard as fuck. And Gaethje said that's the hardest he's ever been hit. He said even outside of the Max Holloway knockout, he said Charles Oliveira straight is the hardest he's ever been fucking hit. And that's
Charles fought so smart. He was doing the right things at the
yeah,
right times. He was winning on the feet where he could, and then he could feel when Chandler was about to start getting dangerous. And then right then he would get a well-timed takedown. He'd really
dude, he was
execute
so
well.
so
Dude, that was
smart.
a very, very good performance from Charles.
And his ground game, like I mean, like again, his ground game is always good, but like his wrestling, like the wrestling portion, like he's Brazilian jiu-jitsu black belt, so he's got the jiu-jitsu, but like his wrestling was fucking phenomenal.
Mhm.
I I gotta fucking see. I mean, I want to see a rematch with both him and Armin and him and Islam because
Yeah.
I would feel more comfortable on the ground with that fight. After watching this again, Chandler sometimes makes me wonder what the fuck he's doing on the ground because he is supposed like he is a good wrestler. Like what happened? I think he abandoned the wrestling for the striking, um,
I think
but
he gets to what happens well, I don't know. You can be a
Like
good
Dan
wrestler
Henderson.
and not have the best takedown defense in the octagon.
No, he did the Dan Henderson dude. He did the same exact thing. They abandon the wrestling. They know they're good at wrestling, but they abandon it for
Yeah.
power striking, and that's why Dan
And
Henderson
sometimes
is.
it doesn't matter how good of a wrestler you are when the person just gets a really well-timed
Yeah,
takedown. Like Charles
yeah,
was timing them up beautifully to where it's like, you know, Chandler would have to be the Flash to defend to get his, underhook to do the
yeah.
right in the
It's
takedown.
it's like the fight we talked about previously that like Stipe Miocic. Stipe Miocic is one of the better wrestlers in heavyweight history. Uh, but that trip that John hit him with,
Yeah.
you can't defend shit like that. It's hard. Like even it just it's just hard. But anyway,
Okay. And then also to Chandler's to critique Chandler is sometimes like even when it's offensive wrestling, we've seen him go too overboard with it where he's like, I'm not trying to get like a good, collegiate style takedown. I'm trying to get the entertaining takedown. He picks a motherfucker up and like slams him, and then he just
dude.
like rolls over and so Poirier's
Yeah,
choking him out
he's
all
fun,
of a
man.
sudden. Yeah.
He's fun. Oh, I meant to ask you because I was going to do this for the first fight too. Oh no, we did it. So for John Jones, obviously you want to see Tom Aspinall next. I said, what? what would you want to see for Charles next? You said Islam, the winner of Islam and
I
Armin. Which
said,
one?
yeah, winner of Islam. Some people are saying Holloway too. That could be
That's
fun.
the one I want to see. That
I
one.
say I say go ahead and get him in with because he's coming off of a win right now. Obviously, go
Mhm.
ahead and get him in with the belt while you
Uh-huh.
can because he is Charles isn't old by any means. He's 35, but we know in the lighter divisions
Yeah,
35.
170 and below.
All right,
Yeah.
you're getting there. Yeah, so go ahead and get him in now. Holloway Holloway's coming off of a
Do you,
loss. He's coming off of a knockout. He can take some time off. Him and Charles can meet up in the near future.
well, this is where again I don't want to cook too long on this too because we got to get to the Bo Nickel fight, obviously. But the the thing about that is I think I mentioned it on our X. I gotta start calling it X because I guess that's what it is now. On our X profile, on our X stuff, I commented on our tweet that we put out or our post that we put out that I'd like to see the Holloway fight next because realistically, we're going to see Armin and Islam in January. I think that's the fight that we're going to see. Um, Ramadan is February or March. Sorry to our Muslim viewers. I don't know Ramadan
I
scheduling very well. I think it's February or March.
got one of those, so
Yeah, February. It's February or March. I'm not entirely sure. And that's another reason why, like Bilal said, he couldn't fight during a certain time, whatnot. But I think that they'll go back. I think that they'll go back to Saudi. They're going back to Saudi in February. I think they'll go to um, Abu Dhabi one time before the summer, but I think that's a fight night, and then they'll return to Abu Dhabi in the fall in October, almost always October. It's starting to become a regular October card, kind of like MSG's regular November card. Or it's like September, October. I don't. It was September or it was October this year. So, um, but anyway, my whole point is I think that if Islam wins, um, they'll wait till October. If Armin wins, they'll run it back with Islam in October. Unfortunately, that's what unless Armin just fucking bulldozes the guy.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of factors. We got to
and
see
that's why like I would like to see the Max fight, but again, Max said he also doesn't want to fight until International Fight Week, which that like kind of just it's hard because if Max and Charles were to fight in July, neither one of those motherfuckers because how much of a war that fight will be. I don't think either one of those motherfuckers will be ready to go by October. If they will be, you know, it'd be tough. Fuck, it's hard. It's hard. And then you got Ilya Tapori's ass trying to fucking say, "Oh, I'm gonna fight for second belt. Win one or two more." I know you beat the two goats, but win one or two more. Uh, it's a fucking lightweight's a dog, dude. It's a shark tank. That whole fucking division is just so good. God, it's so good. But yeah, no, I would totally, honestly, if he wants to sit around and wait, I don't blame him too,
yeah.
because that motherfucker has done enough for this company. I think he deserves it. But, moving on to the next one.
Should we
Uh,
see what we want to see from Chandler next? Because
oh
I
yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
Sorry.
him versus Benoit is a fun
Yeah.
one. Him versus Dariush is a fun one.
Mhm.
I don't think it would be a bad idea for the UFC to try to set Chandler up with a win right now, just to keep him, just to keep a. Not that they're at a shortage of entertaining fighters at 155, not even close. But that probably, I just, in my opinion, that wouldn't be a bad idea. And I don't, that's not saying that him versus Dariush would like be an easy win for Chandler.
Right.
But where Dariush is in his career right now, it's a real good opportunity for Chandler to get back in the win column and kind of stay up there in the mix. Um, so I wouldn't mind that. There are a couple of I mean, he called out Holloway, and honestly, that
That
that doesn't make that's not a bunch of nonsense like that.
if we're talking BMF type shit, it makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah.
I got one for you. Hear me out. Money Moicano.
You think that'd be yeah?
It can be
That would be a
boring
fun fight. That would be a fun fight. It'd be intriguing. I wonder.
because Moicano doesn't set up the takedowns like wrestling. He does trips and shit. He does
Yeah,
so Chandler has a better chance of defending it. I think Chandler beats him. almost. I don't. But man, fuck the way that Moicano ran through beat the fuck out of BSD in that first round. I think it's a fun fight on the ground or on the feet, either way. Because Moicano, even on the feet, like he's getting a little better. He's not great, but he's getting a little better.
Yeah.
I don't think that one's going the distance personally. If that's 3 rounds, I don't think it makes past the second. Like I know that we said that about this one, but legitimately because Moicano is far more hittable than Charles, and Moicano has jujitsu. I'm not gonna say on the level of Charles, but I could see him subbing.
But it's better. He's got better jujitsu than Dustin. So,
Yeah,
um,
and again, he doesn't rely. He doesn't strike like Charles. You know, he'll stand up a lot longer than what Moicano will stand up.
yeah.
So, I think it'd be fun.
Mike Trippin, is Moicano booked right now?
No, I think that I think low key, I think that they might make that fight for the London card that they're planning on doing. Moicano and Patty. I think that's probably what they'll do.
Yeah.
Because Patty still wants to do that like so fucking bad, and I don't blame him. I mean, that actually. Now I think about it, I'd rather see the Patty and Moicano fight because that those scrambles would be fucking crazy. Anyway,
I'll stick with Chandler
yeah,
versus BSD as my pick.
I think I was thinking the Money Moicano fight, but like I like Moicano versus Patty better, so I'm gonna go with. I wouldn't mind Chandler versus Hooker too, but I think Hooker is angling for something a little different, trying to climb the ladder. Uh, so I'll go with what you said, BSD, because I think it's the perfect time to make it. Both guys are coming off of a you know
2 losses.
2 losses, brutal losses for not yeah. Well, Chandler's both his losses were fuck Chandler. No, is Chandler coming off a 2 or 3?
2.
2. Yeah, because he beat Tony and then fought Dustin. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah, I'd be good with it. I like that. That's a good pick. That's a really good pick, and I think that gives a chance for BSD to make it back to the top 15, top 10 inch. So yeah, I like that pick. Anyway, all right, everybody. So the next fight that we're going to be talking about is the Bo Nickel versus Paul Krieg fight that happened at UFC. Paul Krieg, the Braveheart warrior, in a fight that happened. It was a
It
fight.
exists.
It was a fight. My takeaways again. Maybe a hot take, maybe not. I know a lot of like MMA heads, fighters, like more people involved, like probably better trained, more involved with the sport, I guess, are saying, like, oh, like, Bo did great, this and that. I think he did okay. He looked like a fighter that was his 7th fight ever. That's what he looked like. He looked like a fighter that was his 7th fight. Now, granted, doing that against the probably, I think at this point, if I had to give him a ranking, Paul Craig would be like the 21st, 22nd best middleweight in the world at this point, just because of the losses he's had. Pretty good, fairly good. But I am concerned because he's taking time off. He has a lot of time in between fights. And if you're going into a fight against a guy who's you're probably going to get a top 15 opponent next, unless UFC decides to like, hey, let's maybe do one more unranked guy that's not so good. That's a good thing about fighting unranked guys. You can fight way fucking back. You can fight way fucking forward. I mean, look at Peyton Talbot. He fought a guy that was worse than the last guy he fought. So he could go back and fight somebody worse than Paul Craig, and it'll be okay. I hope that's what he does. Because if they do push him to a ranking, eh, eh, because this is what we saw from Bo. Not a single shot. And I think he could have taken down Paul Craig, but I think he was concerned with the size. And what that means with grappling and everything else like that. And I get that. I would be concerned too as Paul Craig. If he can snatch Magomed Ankalaev's neck up, he can snatch yours up. If he can snatch Jamal Hill's arm and neck up, he can snatch yours. So his striking just left so much to be desired. I thought like I thought I was like, okay, he's taking this time off. Like he knows Paul Craig's next opponent. He's going to be working on the boxing. This is what we saw. He used the same overhand right that he uses to set up his leg, his ankle pick takedowns. That's what he did. He threw the same overhand, and I expected like multiple times for him to throw that overhand and grab the ankle. Never fucking once. And I was like, or a single leg, and I was like, what are we doing here? Like, well, what's going on? But yeah, I don't want to cook too long on this because yeah, that's basically my takeaway is that he just didn't do a whole lot. Stand up looked very questionable against a guy, especially in Paul Craig, where like you should have probably just beat his fucking ass because it's Paul Craig. Um, I don't know, man. I'm gonna say this. This is my takeaway. I think that Bo Nickel really should have taken the path of what a lot of fighters do earlier in their career. And again, I know when you're on the UFC level, it's harder, but he should have fought at UFC 300, then fought 2 to 3 months after if he could have fit in a fight, and then fought this fight. And even before that, I think right now instead of being 7-0, Bo Nickel should be anywhere between 10 to 12-0 because he should have taken more fights against easy. And what I'm saying is easy. I mean, fucking bottom of the barrel competition to get your confidence up, to work on your skills, to hone your skills. He should be fighting more Trayshawn Gores, more Antonio Tricolis, more Josh Frems, more, dudes like that, Jacob Malkoon level, like tough fights, but nothing's gonna maybe put him in too much trouble. And it's just weird. It's just weird, man. I don't know. He has a lot to fucking learn before he gets in his next fight. But now, if in his next fight he just goes out and dominates the dude on the ground, we might see something different. But that's my takeaway. I think he's got a lot to learn. What about you, Matt or Squared? Sorry.
Um, yeah, it's so I don't know if you recall when I sent you that text to read on our last episode. I said that Bo Nickel could win any way that he chooses to win. That also includes a lackluster decision. So I was spot on with that one. Um, yeah, I mean it wasn't his best performance. I'm not too worried about it though, because first of all, he did win, and he won.
That's what counts.
Yeah, he won. I wouldn't say decisively, because I think when you say he won decisively, that usually means a finish. But he won and he did what he had to do. I'm not too concerned about it because he also, from what I've seen in his post fight interviews, his recent appearance on the Helwani show, is that he agrees with the sentiment. He agrees that um, he needs to be more active. He needs to kind of slow his roll a little bit. He needs to gain a little more experience and.
I didn't see that. I'm glad. Okay,
When I
good.
when I hear him say those things, I'm like, all right, that's something you
I
love to
like
see
that.
from somebody is awareness and be like, all right, I really got to lock this in before I get on with the big dogs. So I'm sure that his next fight might be a ranked opponent, but it'll probably be one that's has a little difficulty with grappling. It might be a Michelle Pereira, who we just saw get ragdolled to hell versus Fluffy, who's a great grappler. So, but that's an option. Michelle Pereira would be a good ranked opposition next step. Um, but at that point, you beat him, and then you become ranked, and then it's like, all right, well now you got to fight ranked guys. Not all of them are going to be bad at grappling. Um, so probably not a bad idea for his next fight to be against an unranked guy, just one more unranked guy that he can go in there. Um, I don't know if there's like a certain stylistic matchup that you want to look at. You don't like what I'm saying is,
I think anything. I think
yeah,
anything. Just don't. Just like
give,
honestly, anything. Like
give,
I
give him a tough. Sorry, give him a tough unranked guy. It doesn't have to be someone that's going to be bad at grappling
Well,
or.
I mentioned, like Jacob Malkoon realistically wouldn't be a terrible because Jacob Malkoon is trying to trying to work his way back up to the top 15 after kind of starting off a little lackluster. So there you go, boom, there's
Yeah.
a fight.
So yeah,
I've
give
got
him
one
something like
when we do our
that,
when
and
we do our
then
picks. I was gonna say when we do our picks, I got one.
okay. So yeah, give him somebody like that, just one more unranked guy. Because even Dana was like, The kid's got big ass. Of course, he says kids because that's how he describes anybody. It doesn't matter if the
He
guy's
could be 50 years old, dude. You probably called Mike Tyson
I
a kid.
was just about to say he probably called Mike Tyson, like, the kid's got heart or something like that. He was like, the kid's got to slow his roll a little bit. He's got
Yeah.
big aspirations, but he's got to slow down a little bit. And then
Mhm.
when asked about that, Bo was like, yeah, I agree. So it's like, okay.
I
So
see. I didn't.
I think,
I did see that. I didn't see his aerial. I got to listen to his aerial
yeah,
interview.
it makes me think, all right, he's going to be taking logical steps from here
Good.
on. So that's
Good.
good. So I say, yeah, one more unranked guy, then maybe like a Michelle Pereira, someone that's going to get you in that ranked area. Um, and then, just from there, just try to keep getting better. And
I will
I
say
like Bo
so.
Nickel. I'll say that. I know a lot of people don't like him because
I don't mind.
overrated or whatever.
I
If
don't think
he's overrated, that's on the fans. That's not on him. He is a
it's what they rate him as. They're the ones that.
child in the sport. He's a child
Yeah.
in the sport. He's got 7 wins.
Mhm.
He's performing at that. He's performing better. I put him against any other middleweight with 7 career fights, and he's going to beat the fuck out of him.
Yeah.
So yeah, he just needs to he just needs to take good steps going
Yep.
forward and getting himself up to that top level. I don't think he's people are acting like, oh, he's overrated, he's doomed.
Mhm.
He's 7 fights in. He's got a lot of learning left.
Yeah, he's got it. That's exactly like what I was what I was cooking on is that he looked like he looked like a dude with 7 fights. He looks
Yeah.
like a dude with 7 fights. Again, some people are going to bring up, oh, what about like Cody Garbrandt looking like like that? There's certain people that are just destined to be fucking phenomenal in the sport, and I think Bo, honest to God, low key, like even fucking 5 years from now, and let's say he loses 2 or 3, I think Bo Nickel could challenge for a title one day still, because he
I
has
wouldn't doubt that
his
for a second.
his grappling is so good. Like that's the thing. We saw his striking. His striking left a lot to be desired. That's where I was disappointed at. I'm not saying he's overrated. I'm going to state that. I don't think he's overrated. I think that the fans expect too much of him. The UFC hasn't. For me, for me, I am very disappointed in what I thought his striking would be in this fight.
Yes, that I
And
can absolutely agree with.
that's where I'm at, because you're going against a guy like Paul Craig. You can work on your boxing a little bit more. But anyway, I will say one another thing I wanted to say too. You talked about how he's taking this fight, or how he's taking the win afterwards, and like saying he's got to slow his roll and stuff. One of the funniest fucking things I saw from the post fight presser is he said, he goes, how long, he goes, how many people do you see chanting your name for that long throughout the whole fight? They're like, "Whoa!" I was like, you gotta be fun, dude. That shit, like his humor's dry as hell because he just doesn't execute very well. But I fucking died laughing because just how he said it, like
Yeah.
so nonchalant, like because
Uh,
he does. He says it so dry. He says it so dryly. I'm like, oh my god, that was funny as shit. I think it was Jose Youngs asking the question, but it was fucking great. Shout out Jose Youngs. I got to give that dude a shout out anytime I can. But picks for the next fight for Bo. I don't really have one for Paul Craig because he could fight anybody, and it'd be whatever. But for
yeah.
Bo, um, Bo versus Joe. Bo versus Joe Pyfer.
I've wanted to see that fight for a while. I don't. That's not a bad idea. That's
Because
not.
Is Joe unranked right now? I think he still is. Yeah,
I think. Yeah. I don't think.
I don't think he is because
Is
he
he
lost to
break
Jack.
the rankings? Yeah, he lost to Jack. I think that was supposed to be his crack into the rankings, if I'm not
Yeah,
mistaken.
pretty
Yeah,
fucking hard to go against the
bad
number
idea.
10 fucking
That's
guy.
one that I've wanted to see for a while. I also wouldn't mind.
Is Joe booked?
I don't know.
I'm gonna tell you right now. Hang
Uh,
looking on.
I'll give one that's going to test his grappling a little bit, and then go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot. He just fought and beat Marc Andre Barrio. I forgot about that. Yep,
Oh, right. Oh, right.
back
Yeah,
in
yeah,
June. Back in
yeah,
June. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so one I'll give for Bo, which is an unranked guy who's going to test his grappling a little bit, maybe not too much, but I think enough to where it's gonna leave it to Bo striking to win. Not to say that he has to win this fight by knockout, but that he has to utilize his striking to maybe take advantage of the grappling would be. And it's another Philly guy and a friend of Joe Pyfer is
Ooh, Petrosky?
Petrosky.
Oh,
Petrosky's called for that fight before too.
yo, that's
I
the
don't
one.
see that.
That's the
Yeah.
one. That's the one. You could no, that's the one. I
Yeah.
was gonna that's the one. I can't even beat that. I was gonna say, oh, you could fight Trayshawn Gore, or, maybe try to match Trayshawn Gore again. No, that's the one right
That's
there,
also not a bad idea though, Trayshawn Gore.
dude. Because Trayshawn Gore is an aggressive, athletic motherfucker, like
Yeah.
athletic as shit.
Coming off some W. Obviously, it was a long time since he fought last before, what was it, last week or 2 weeks ago? But coming off some wins.
Shout out, I was gonna say friend of the show, and shout out
Shout out.
that fucking that guillotine, dude. Just
Fucking,
how do you fucking get that high? Number one, high elbow guillotines are like hard as shit, and he just fucking like, shout out, shout out. Sorry, I gotta cook on Trayshawn, but those are the three big fights. We'll kind of run through these next few. Obviously, we've been cooking for a while, everybody. Do you have anything else to say about the top three fights before we move on? Good fights, they were great.
not really.
Okay,
No.
cool. All right, everybody. So the next thing up, we're gonna talk about real quick. We're gonna pick a fighter from the card who was the what we're gonna call the spark of the card, the spark that kind of started the fire for us in the card. Try not to be too cheesy, but kind of picking a fighter who really kind of, I don't know, got like we were really impressed with, or like excited us, got us going, whatever. And for me, um, it was a tough choice, but I think I'm gonna go with Obon Elliott. Honestly, he was on the undercard. I know that um, I didn't expect a lot from him. I didn't think that surely of all people, I didn't think he was gonna knock out Basel Hafez, because Basel Hafez looked like the dude had an iron fucking head, like he's built like a brick shit house. I actually picked Basel to win the fight because I thought he was a lot better. I just thought he was a really good fighter. Honestly, I thought like he had a lot of potential, especially after what he showed against Jack Della. Um, and Oban kind of went out there and made him look very pedestrian, very, very not great. Like Basil had a hard time pulling the trigger. Oban had him guessing between the leg kicks, between the just all the work that he was doing between the jab, the straight. And then he ended up knocking him out twice in one sequence. Knocked him out on the way down, and then woke him back up, and then knocked him out again. Questionable refereeing maybe, but Oban just dude. I think the guy. I don't think he's like. I'm not gonna say he's the truth, but the Welsh gangster man. He's there, and I think that I can't wait to see what's next. And I fucking love the fucking Hulk Hogan pose. For those of you guys in the video form, the Hulk Hogan, that I love it, dude.
What about him hitting that pose while Hafez was in the background?
Yeah, the fucking picture. And the fact that the refs
like, but it's like that. Something about that is just too damn funny. It's the juxtaposition of one guy just doing something so unserious while the other guy's just like
fucking break. I was to say Connoisseur Combat fucking caught the screenshot. Shout out Combat, bro.
Dude, screenshots are A1.
He catches the best ones. Hold on, I had the fucking damn it, can't find it now. Hold on.
I think I actually took a screenshot of it watching. I didn't realize he took a screenshot of it. Yeah, it's my most recent thing on my camera roll.
Fucking dude, yes.
It's fucking three guys trying to catch him while he's over there.
It's so good, dude. And like, but yeah, dude, shout out Obon Elliott. That guy, like, between his love for Chael, if you guys go on x.com, Twitter, whatever you want to call it, Alex Buchanan does the humanizing athletes. His humanizing athletes was one of the better ones I've seen in recent times. Is fucking great. Just want to actually, I don't want to cook too long. I want to read, but like he said, his favorite drink was beer. He fucking loves like just everything that he said. Again, was like the manly man type of thing. I fucking love it. I love the guy. He's great. I'm never gonna pick against him again. I don't care if he's fighting fucking Shavkat Rahmanov next. I might be picking Oman Elliott because I love that dude. Dude, he's great. He's a character, and I wish nothing but success for him in the future. And he was my spark of the card, dude. He was the person who I was like, I watched that first fight between Hardy and Mora, and I was like, okay. And then Oban came out there and was like, watch this shit. And I was like, okay, let's fucking go. And my honorable mention, shout out Marcin Tybura. That shit was nasty. But Squared, what's your pick on that, brother?
So there's a handful of very good candidates for the spark of the card on this one. We got Rufy, which almost feels like a cheap one since he was on the main card. Dude, yeah, that shit was clean. So I was at the wedding.
Oh, look.
I was at the wedding when that happened, and all I saw was that clip, and I was like, "Oh, he knocked him out." And then I will say, dude,
On top.
Jan Top. How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Yon Top. I said Long Top, but
Yeah,
yeah, Yon Top.
Jan
That chin,
Top.
bro.
He managed to get him against the fence right after that. I was like, "Oh shit!"
That dude
But
had a fucking chin.
yeah. So you got Rufy, you got Tybura, I'd even put Marcus McGee in there just because I know it wasn't like a flawless win, but it was a win, and it was a really good win. It was a good step up in competition for him.
Massive. I mean, fucking major.
Overcame some real adversity with those damn kicks. Dude, his leg was chopped up. You could see it when he was landing it. He was like, his reactions were like massive. He was like,
he fucking picked his leg up. He couldn't.
Yeah, he was jumping. He was trying to like fucking Spider-Man, like, when Doc Ock is swinging the tentacles around.
Yeah, bro.
Over him. Yeah, he was doing that to avoid the leg kicks.
Oh, that was bad, bro.
But to see him overcome that and get the win, I was like, that's a good one. But I was thinking about going with one of those options. And Tybura, I can't remember if I already said that, but Tybura as well. Those nasty elbows had the boy Denise or whatever his name is just
had
those red goggles on. But no, I'm in complete agreement with you. I'm not going to even try to like pick one of those just to be different.
No, you pick what you want, bro. Yeah.
It's Oban for me as well, dude. I really dig the guy. I think he's got a great personality. He's just got a very good energy to him. You can hear it in the interviews he does. He's an easy guy to get behind. And, I don't know if he'll ever be like champion or anything. But he's a damn good fighter. And one thing I've noticed about him is every time he gets in the octagon, he gets a little bit better each time. And if he continues to improve the way that he's going, I think he can reach some pretty damn good heights in the sport. So he's definitely my spark because I think I think that spark's gonna be a pretty good sized fire one day.
Oh, for sure.
Dude, he looked good. That knockout was disgusting. The fact that he got like 3 knockouts in 10 seconds in that fight was insane. He knocked him down. You could tell Hafez was like,
I think he knocked him out 3 times low key, actually. Yeah.
He was snoozing a little bit when he went down. And then I think when he hit the ground, he kind of woke up and then he took a good shot, went out again, but then woke up and then took more shots. And it's like, damn. Oban is my spark of the week.
That's fine, dude. I love that. Yeah. I'll say this. You know who he reminds me a lot of, and it's a guy who a lot of us, I know that myself included, doubted and has proved to be a lot fucking better than he is. And that's Paddy Pimblett. Reminds me a lot of that. Paddy Pimblett gets better every fucking time he's out there, and I think Oban is.
Yeah, same as Oban. Paddy Pimblett, he manages to rise to the occasion. You could say that he didn't rise to the occasion versus Gordon.
Jared Gordon, that was a weird one. But again, Oban had one that he beat the guy, but he just didn't look phenomenal. And I think it was like
it was his debut.
Yeah.
Which is why, and then the next time he came around, he had a more decisive decision, and then he had this fight, which was like decisive.
Yeah, and that's what I love, dude. What is going on over there with the UK, Ireland, all the Welsh, all those guys?
Shout out to Wales for having my favorite flag, because if I'm not mistaken,
that shit's dope, bro.
They're the only people, if not one of like maybe very few people, to have a dragon on their flag, which is cool.
Sick, bro.
Yeah.
By the way, fun
I have some
fact.
Welsh ancestry too, so shout
I was
out.
gonna say, found a fun fact. I got fucking Welsh ancestry too, bro. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I got Irish and Irish, Welsh, and fucking German. If anybody knows my real last name.
I'm
Uh,
pretty much a European mutt. Just got Swiss, Welsh, German, Irish, Scottish, English,
that's
uh,
what most everybody is.
French. Uh,
Mine's just mine's mostly UK and fucking German.
Everybody, dude, I am the product of a European orgy, I think.
And then you got Max over. Then you got our boy Max, who's just a fucking Nazi. I mean, if anybody knows, obviously you guys see his last. I mean, you won't see it here because it'll be edited to have squares. But if you guys know Max's last name, if you guys watch our old pods with his last name on it, that man is yeah, he's a little bit German. But anyway, I think that's it, guys. That was our second. And honestly, like a 308 card was better, but I like this top down form we're doing. We're keeping Stoking the
Yeah,
Coals is staying as top down 100% because this
I
worked
like
out so well.
it. Worked.
We appreciate, yeah,
It
and
felt
like
good. It felt good to put. Maybe this shouldn't make it on the pod, so I don't know if I should say this, but it just felt good to put all of our energy talking into those very important fights, and then
no,
kind of
we can put that in the we can put
yeah,
that in the pod because no, like yeah, everybody like I mean everybody gets it. It feels that starting at the top, putting them into the more. I'm not gonna say I always say important fights. I'm not gonna say that the bigger fights. Yeah, we'll say that, and it feels good. And obviously, we started with the spark, the card. Shout out to Squared for that. Good idea on that. And
that
we
was that. Don't cut yourself short. That was I just said spark, and you said spark in the card, and
okay, I'll say so for anybody that meant like you guys won't see that portion, but yeah. And even if this makes it in or not, whatever. Uh,
you know that meme where it's like the two people like look at each other and they got the brain wavelengths
yeah,
back and
yeah.
forth. That was us when we came up with spark of the card right there.
Or it's like if you've ever seen the fucking Charlie and Mac meme from It's Always Sunny, where just staring at each other, like just staring at each other. That's what I feel. But no, yeah, we appreciate everybody. And yeah, that's how this card's gonna be from now on. Stay tuned for our prediction show for. We're not gonna do Macau. Quick prediction for Macau. I'm picking Yon. I don't know what.
I would probably, dude. I'm probably gonna miss all these fights. There's no way I'm
Oh,
waking up.
I gotta work. I'm gonna miss them. So
I haven't gotten to sleep in so long. I don't know what time the card starts, but hopefully I wake up for the main card at least. Um,
I think the last fight will start at like 8, 9.
okay, I'll be up for that. I'll be up for that.
If I had to guess.
Um, I'm gonna go with Figgy. Just kind of hard
Hey,
against him right
fair,
now.
fair. That's fair. So yeah, there's your real quick picks. But our next prediction show, is there a prediction show between now and the 310? Or is there not a prediction show? Is there a card between now and 310 between Macau? Was there one more? Because
Uh,
Tampa's no, I don't think there is. I
nope.
think
It goes Figgy
damn.
on.
Fuck, you're moving on to the so 310 will be our next prediction show. So stay tuned,
It's not
everybody,
even
for
a
that.
week off. It just goes, yeah, wow.
Yeah, we're moving into the next
Man,
pay
you
per
know
view.
what sucks is we're about to get to that time of year right after. I think the last card's on like what December 14th, Covington versus Buckley. Yeah, the 14th, and then we won't be back till January. Like I don't even know 20 something like that.
And we're gonna have to come up with some good shit to talk about, everybody. God, it's gonna be
We're
brutal.
we're probably just gonna be putting out like 15-minute segment videos, just talking about like news, be like, oh, this fight's
So
in
stay tuned, everybody. That's what we're gonna. But anyway, yeah.
yeah.
So our next prediction show will be for the 310 card. Obviously, that'll be live. So stay tuned for that. That'll be next week. And then after that, we will have Tampa. We might do a live prediction show for Tampa just because it's the last card of the year. If it's not live, it will be recorded, obviously.
What about going to the Tampa fight? Because my homie whose wedding I was at, uh, lives in Tampa, and I was like, man, I got a place to stay. All I
Well,
have to do is take off like a Friday from work. I thought about it. I thought about it.
I might possibly be going to the Seattle card.
Oh,
Maybe. It's got to intrigue me a little bit more, but I got a cousin that lives in Seattle, and we'll see. Honestly, when Christmas comes around, I'm going to get a little bit of bonus check in what I don't spend on my family. I'm going to save a little bit back for myself for a card this next year because I attended two cards this last year and I didn't attend one this year. And I really, don't get me wrong, I'm one of those guys that's a purist of I like watching fights with my friends way better. So I'd rather go to like Nashville, obviously hang out with you guys. But
they better, dude, because I'm gonna put that on my list
oh,
of
I'm going back down there this next year.
I'm putting on my list for 2025 is to go to a UFC card. So I hope the UFC makes that easy on me and does another UFC
Yeah,
national.
let's hey, and you know what? Honestly, low key, let me know and I'll find one. I'd actually just fuck whatever Seattle has. I'd rather go to one with you guys. I'm hoping they go to Chicago
If
this year. That's
they, if they go to like Louisville again this year, I'll go to that
I
for sure.
if I had to predict, I think they might do one in New Orleans maybe because they haven't had one there in a while. I'll go down there.
Louisiana is the only state in the Southeast that I've never been to. So
There we go. Let's fucking make it happen, UFC. So yeah. Anyway, we're getting we're talking about future
yeah.
prospects, but that's what happens on these shows. So anyway, everybody, we appreciate you guys tuning in. This was Stoking the Coals with Squared and Knuckles, and obviously we say it every show. You can find us on the whole Twitter, Instagram. We're not even say the handles. You've
I
watched
got
the
it.
show.
I got it.
Oh, you got it. Do it, buddy. Do it.
Twitter at bench_burner. Instagram bench burner sports, one word. TikTok would also be bench burner sports, one word. Facebook bench burner sports, but it's 3 full words. Do we have any other ones?
Not as of right now.
Yeah. Obviously, if you're watching this right now, then you already know what our YouTube is. So go ahead and
Yeah.
like and subscribe.
Yeah, and check us out on any podcasting channel that you want to check us out on. We are for sure. I know that like it automatically posts to like other random ones. I don't know how that all works, but I know for sure we are on Spotify and you on Apple Podcasts as well. Amazon, I don't know about. I don't know if they. I don't know. I maybe in the future. I don't know how that works, but anyway.
They have podcasts.
Yeah, yeah. Amazon, I think they do. I don't know. I don't fucking know. Maybe they do. Maybe they don't. Anyway, we're getting off track. Appreciate you guys. It's been Stoking the Coals. That is the name. We're gonna call it Stoking. We're good with that. We're good with that. All right.
Stoking apostrophe the Coals.
Yes. So appreciate you guys tuning in. I fucking love this. I love talking about fights. I love me and Squared love talking about this shit. And stay tuned because we'll have more in the future. Thank you guys.